Hi, welcome to Wonder of the Seas, the world's largest cruise ship. I'm here on this semi-live vlog to let you know how this trip is going. Many of you know me. I am a longtime Carnival cruiser. I've cruised many cruise lines, but by far I've done the most with Carnival. And here I am on Royal Caribbean for the very first time and on Wonder of the Seas, also, obviously, for the very first time. So I'm not going to do a daily vlog, but I'm going to do several pretty much every 2 days to let you know what's been going on, how this is. If you're brand new to Royal Caribbean, this will give you a great feel here today for what the first 2 days on Wonder of the Seas is like. If you're a longtime Royal cruiser, then welcome. Nice to have you along to Cruising with Dee, and I hope you will enjoy this also. And if you are from Carnival, then you will be seeing it through my eyes. And after the trip, I will be doing comparisons, lots of reviews, lots of content for you. But this is kind of just to let you know what's been going on so you can see it as it's happening. So let's get started. You're watching Cruising with Dee. Embarkation is in Port Canaveral, Florida, outside of Orlando. If you're interested, I have a video all about Port Canaveral, as well as one I just put up on the Town Place Suites, which is where I stayed prior to this cruise and which I highly recommend for your pre-cruise hotel stays in Port Canaveral. It was a rainy day, pouring rain. There were flood advisories. It was just like, not the kind of day you want when you are boarding your ship, but it can happen. I mean, this is Florida and it is tropical. I took the shuttle bus from the hotel, got me within 10 minutes right over to Wonder of the Seas for embarkation. So I have a confession to make. I was scheduled for a 1:30 check-in time because I had checked in so late. And I was unhappy with that, and I'm really one of those color by the rules people. I don't go outside the lines, and I don't usually flout what I'm supposed to do. But I really wanted to make a limited dining plan reservations. I had plans to pretty much try every restaurant on the ship that was specialty, and also I wanted to have my first meal at Mason Jar, which closed at 1:30 for the first days. I took people's advice, and I roll the dice to see what would happen, even though I got all of these reminders from Royal, please show up only at your time. So I'm like, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? I can be standing outside in the rain for a little while if they won't let me in. As it turned out, there was no line whatsoever to embark the ship. It was so easy. You just went right from outside to check-in, right to the check-in process, and boom, you were on the ship. So I assume if they had a backup that I would not have been able to board, and I certainly wouldn't have tried this at 10:30 or 11. So I was on the ship pretty much by noon. So, 11:30 shuttle, took about 10 minutes, and then boom, right through, right on. So thank you, Royal Caribbean. I won't do that again. Next time I will get that early check-in time. But I got my unlimited dining plan reservations right away. They have several kiosks right on the promenade on 5 when you get on the ship. And there were about 4 people ahead of me, and it was a little complicated, so it took a while, but quick enough that I was able to get everything I wanted. I had to run down to Izumi to get those reservations, but I was in a Mason Jar before they closed, and I had a lovely first lunch at the Mason Jar. And for those of you who don't know, Mason Jar is up on 15 on Wonder of the Seas, and they have wonderful Southern-inspired food. After my luncheon, I went to my room, which was ready. And it's beautiful. I'm just briefly staying in a neighborhood view interior, which is lovely natural light. And I love this room. I've got a tour planned for you. I highly recommend it. Hugely spacious for one person. I have so much room. I don't kind of know what to do with all of it. After that, I went to the room and I went upstairs because I was really excited for that sail away party in the pouring rain. It continued to rain, and it was hard. I felt bad for the entertainment people who were running the sail away party because it was just running too hard. There were several of us huddled under this leaf thing, maybe 15 people, everybody trying to dance, and we had a good time. But it was not like the sail away for my first Royal Caribbean cruise, I'd hope. But you can't do anything about the weather. And the weather, which I'm going to be talking about a lot for these first 2 days on the ship, has been caused by Tropical Storm Philippe, which will not go away. It looked like it was going to turn away and completely miss our cruise, but instead we've been stuck in it pretty much the whole time. And if I'm quiet, you can probably hear the ship groaning and creaking, and It's been rough seas. I feel bad for the people who have had to put up with it, who are very susceptible to that. I know several people on anti-nausea medication or who are kind of in their rooms, but I am very lucky that I am not impacted by that. But we have had high seas. Right now I think it's 8 to 10 foot swells, and we've also had wind, like extreme wind for part of this trip, as you're going to see. So, but back to for the first day of the cruise. For my first evening, I decided to start my trip off with a bang, and I ate at 150 Central Park, which is this ship's premier gourmet restaurant. I was excited to get a reservation, and to get there you have to walk through Central Park, which, if you don't know, is a giant park with trees and plantings right in the middle of the ship. It's on deck 8, but it's open right up to the air. So I had my first meal there. The food did not disappoint. I absolutely loved it. Fantastic service. We'll be looking at that more in depth later on. So left Central Park, and it was raining even harder, and this time they had umbrellas out for us. So I took the umbrella, almost lost it going inside out with also the high winds, and took it to the end of Central Park where I was headed. From there, I had reservations for the Aqua show, the Intense show, at 10:45. The earlier show had been canceled due to high seas and the motion of the boat and the rain. Ours, though, it stopped raining by 10:45, and so they thought it was going to go ahead, and we all got let into the theater, and I'm looking around going, oh, I don't know. Then, like, the water started sloshing back and forth, as you can see. And yes, they did have to cancel the show for the safety of the performers. They canceled it. The cruise director came out and told us it was canceled, but that our tickets would be good for a show. They're moving the show to Thursday night. The performers had all gotten dressed up in their costumes and their makeup, and they came out at least and they waved to us. But because the Aqua show wasn't happening, at the same time, the beginning of the embarkation party was starting. And this is the party where they drop a bunch of balloons, like a big balloon drop, to get the cruise off with a bang. So I went there, and it didn't really get started at 10:45 like it said in the program. It got started much later, but I went and I super enjoyed it. I've never been to a balloon drop before. I know it's weird. So it was like fun and exciting. There was dancing beforehand, and there were people dancing. All the fun cruise dances like the wobble and the Cupid shuffle. And the fun thing was it was done with a live band, so it wasn't pre-recorded music. Boy, are that many balloons popping after the drop loud. I couldn't believe how loud it was. So something I didn't expect. If you don't like loud noises and you're sensitive to them, I just want to warn you that you don't want to stay. Once those balloon drops, you should hightail it out of there. And that was it for my first night. It was midnight, and it was time for bed. Had a great first day here on Wonder of the Seas. Plus, I wanted to wake up early. The next day was going to be perfect day at CocoCay, Royal Caribbean's private island. Well, for us, it was stormy day at CocoCay because the weather did not let up. Now, it did rain, but not all day. But the wind was really kind of the starring weather phenomena that we had on CocoCay. But I did get out off the ship quite as early because of the weather, and I got a nice espresso at Cafe Promenade, and then I got my beach bag together, and there I was on CocoCay. Put a lot of steps in on CocoCay if you want to walk around. There is also a tram for those who need it that take you right from the ship to most of the points on the island. So I walked to, my first idea for the day was to go to Chill Beach, which is a 10-minute walk off to the left when you get off the ship. And Chill Island has got less going on, and so more adults, a little bit less children, and just kind of a little quieter atmosphere. Royal Caribbean is putting in a completely adult-only beach called the Hideaway, which will be ready next year, but we didn't have that yet. Went to Chill Beach, and it was pretty chill. I mean, I was able to get a lounger right by the ocean about 9:30 when I got to the beach. And probably that was because of the wind. I mean, that wind did not let up. It was windy when I came off the ship. You could see the rocking waves. I was like, wow, props to the captain for actually even getting us here today. And if the wind didn't let up, I stayed for a while to go in the water, and it was beautiful. Like, it was a little bit chilly. So when you got into the water, it was really, really nice to have the warm water. It just felt fantastic. And the beaches on CocoCay, most of them are protected. So even with high seas, you could go in. There was a yellow flag warning, though, on Chill Beach as the day progressed. So you got to watch the warning flags. Like, I didn't really go in very deep, so that it was a problem. But anyway, the wind got to be too much. So I packed up, and I took the tram over to South Beach. which has more going on and also was on the other end of the island, so I figured it would be more sheltered from the wind, and it was. And so I stayed there for the rest of my beach day. We had rains on and off all morning. They kind of dissipated as the day went on, and I really enjoyed it. Again, beautiful water. Just it's right by, they have those beautiful oceanfront cabanas people can rent, and ones in the water. I had funnel cake for breakfast and the famous crispy chicken sandwich for lunch. All the food and drink is included on Perfect Day and CocoCay. So like if you have a package on the ship, it also transfers over to the island. And that was kind of nice. I'm reading the Elon Musk biography because he's such like a fascinating human being. So I just read my book and hung out, people watched, and enjoyed being at the beach, and even without the sun. Although I really wanted that Caribbean sun and those perfect turquoise blue waters, but not yet on this trip. Anyway, packed up, and I went back to the ship, and before I went back, I just went along and got some more photos in the Chill Beach area, because you can get some really great photos of the ship from there. And then, man, when I walked back to the ship, that wind was howling. I literally had to try to stay upright a couple of times because it was really going. And I did not fall over or lose anything out of my bag, but you can listen here if you would like to hear what that wind sounded like when we were getting back on the ship. So yeah, definitely wind was going. I got back to the ship about 1:30, and I went up to the Solarium. They have these outdoor wings on the Solarium where I got some beautiful photos of CocoCay from above. Went into the Solarium and checked that out. It's the adult-only area. I believe it's 18 and up now. They just changed the age from 16. And it was nice. You could hang out. I got a little bit of warmth. I can't say I got sun because there was no sun. That was what I did when I got back from CocoCay. So the rocking and the rolling of the ship continued for the afternoon, and in fact had gotten more than the first night. The winds were going constant at up to 40 knots, which is, I think that's it's definitely a tropical storm force winds. I love being rocked to sleep by this ship, but I'm sure some other people were not quite as happy with the situation. For dinner, I went to Wonderland last night. And Wonderland is an Alice in Wonderland themed restaurant. It has very whimsical chairs. It's like a tasting menu. There's lots of different flavors and different inventive types of food. And you want to order everything, but you almost can. So what I did was you tell the waiter what your food likes and dislikes and allergies are, and they will bring you what they think you're going to like. And they really hit it out of the park with me. I asked for mostly fish and vegetables, and that's what I got, and I absolutely loved it. More on that later on when I do a full review. Oh, and also the Mad Hatter comes and visits and gives you a little story, and it's very delightful. After Wonderland, I decided to go see Voices, which is kind of the classic type of cruise ship entertainment. So you've got your singers and your dancers. It's a unique concept. The talent was fantastic, great singers, great dancers. The concept was voices, and so everything, including the music instead of instruments, was beatboxed, but that was all recorded. So the music was pre-recorded, and then it was people's faces up on the giant electronic screen, and they were giant and very distracting, and I was distracted from the singing that was happening and the dancing in the auditorium. But again, more on this on my full review later. But it was very overwhelming. So not my favorite show I've ever seen on a cruise ship, although well executed for what it was. After that, I decided to go check out the casino where I had not been yet. I do go on the casino Carnival pretty regularly. I jammed a little bit, and I'll probably be back, but just want to see what it's all about. And that's it for my first 2 full days here on Wonder of the Seas. I'm enjoying myself immensely. I've seen a lot of differences with Carnival, and I'll definitely have a point-by-point review, putting Carnival up against Royal Caribbean and what I think. Suffice it to say, I'm having a fantastic time. Also, I wanted to thank you, my viewers. You have put me up to 1,000 subscribers, and I cannot thank you enough. That is a real milestone here with YouTube, and I thank you. I thank all of my viewers, even if you don't subscribe. And if you don't subscribe, maybe it's time to do so. Just hit that subscribe button and hit the notification button as well. So when I do a live or I do something like this, you'll be notified when I have new content up. And also, if you're enjoying this, please hit that like button. I appreciate all of it. So again, thank you so much. There will probably be 2 more semi-live vlogs from this ship, as well as I'm going to try to do a live broadcast later this week. Thank you for joining this Carnival Girl in Wonderland. You have been watching Cruising with Dee.